Hello. Well, as somebody who's done a lot of relationship work with clients over the years, trying to integrate law of assumption ideas with just healthy relationship boundaries in terms of reconnecting with an ex or finding a more loving and fulfilling relationship, I want to make a quick video today about one of the main reasons that you probably feel a little bit stuck if you feel like you have relationship difficulties or are trying to manifest your, specific person back, as people like to say in the law of assumption community, and why you do not need to feel stuck anymore. If you get nothing else out of this video, just hopefully you will get a little bit of relief by understanding at least a little bit that there is no reason to be stuck or feel stuck, I should say, in regards to your relationship situation. Whether you're with a person right now where you want to reconnect with a person or get, in a relationship with a new person, there's no reason to feel stuck. And this idea that you feel stuck is just this fabricated idea that's not real. Just understanding that point alone, I think is going to make you feel a lot better. But there's more to it, and we'll go into it in this video. Well, if there's other videos, I'll put a link in the description. Actually, over 100 videos where I'm talking in depth about the same general idea, which is basically that our self-concept, which is such a buzzword in the law of assumption community, and also, something people talk about in the law of attraction and, holistic health space a lot, our self-concept is usually pretty negative when it comes to getting into a relationship or reconnecting with somebody. Our own sense of self-worth and self-love is usually compromised because we feel like, oh, I'm not good enough for this person, or there's something wrong with me, or I simply have too much fear to confront this person about something they did to me, or maybe like we feel too prideful because we're like, this person should apologize to me before I apologize to them. There's all this stuff there layered over what we really want in an ideal relationship, which is, for most of us at least, love, companionship, a deep sense of, mutual understanding and peace. There's all this stuff, whether it be fear, shame, pride, guilt, jealousy, kind of, stacked on top of what we really want. And quite simply, what we need to recognize is that stuff is stacked on top, but is not real in the way we think it is. In other words, we can knock it off. My 8-year-old and I were playing Jenga yesterday, and there's this big stack of blocks. Most of you play, or a lot of you have probably played Jenga before, and you're taking the blocks out, and it's unbelievable. You've got this big stack still of blocks, and it's balancing, right? And there's blocks out, throughout the big stack. But then you take one block, too many blocks out, and one little block is removed, all of a sudden the big stack falls. That's kind of what this is like energetically. And what I'm saying is, let that fucking stack fall. Find all those blocks, take them out, and boom! All of a sudden, that fear, that shame, that guilt erodes, and you know how to act. You know what to actually do. See, self-concept in a vacuum means nothing. Saying I'm a loving, caring person and everyone's attracted to me means nothing. It's how you actually feel on the inside and how you act because of it, how you act. Self-concept inherently means how you act. How you act. When Neville spoke about imagination, he wasn't talking about a one-time thing. He was talking about how your imagination shapes your entire reality. In other words, how your imagination shapes how you act in regards to everything. What that means is those feelings that seem so real. Oh, he did me wrong, she did me wrong, or I'll never be able to, reconnect with them because they don't understand my position, or I'm not good enough for them, or I can't get past how fucked up my parents treated me. All that stuff layered on top, we get a look at. And as we look at it, our relationship to those feelings about what has happened in our life change. We get to know it better. And all of a sudden, that block, we're able to just kind of knock out. And then we're able to knock out another block. We're able to go deeper and deeper as we feel more and more about fear, shame, our sense of self-worth, maybe our sense of ego, our sense of jealousy, perhaps. We're knocking out these blocks, and we slowly come to realize, sometimes quickly, but usually gradually, over, maybe a couple months, for instance. When I work with clients, I usually say, expect this to take a couple months to really hold. But after a couple months, you're relating to your feelings, your fear, your shame, all of this stuff so differently. All of these blocks have been knocked out, and then boom, the tower's fallen. And all of a sudden, you're not just reacting to some things in your life differently, you're reacting to so many things differently in regards to relationships, in regards to how you talk to people, in regards to how you talk to yourself. And that makes you a much more self-loving person and a more loving person to others. It also makes you a much more attractive person to others. So that ex that you just couldn't seem to reconnect with all of a sudden wants to reconnect with you, for instance. Or that person that you were trying to connect with all of a sudden shows up. They weren't actually on a dating app. They were somebody you meet at a social event that you weren't even planning to go to, for instance. Or maybe that person on the dating app suddenly shows up. Or a friend calls you out of the blue that you haven't spoken to in years. Or a family member reaches out to you, or you have a conversation with a family member that you were not able to have before. See, when you change your self-concept, it doesn't just change your romantic relationships, it changes your relationships with everybody, which affects everything. Self-concept means how we change from within, imaginatively, which changes our outer actions towards everything in our life. This is the real law of assumption stuff. This is what's so exciting about it, and why I love talking to people about it. It's not just the kind of overplayed ideas that sounded great at first when Neville said them, live in the end, everyone is you pushed out, stuff like that. That sounds great on paper, but those have become just these catchphrase slogans that mean next to nothing. And self-concept, the way it's thrown around, often means next to nothing. But how we're talking about it in this video is what it means something. This is how it will change your life. So you don't have to worry that you're doing something wrong, or that you're stuck in a loop and that it's never going to end. The way to get out of these loops is to simply realize that the loops are not real, and that you're already okay. And that in some deep, fundamental way, you've been okay the whole time. And the more you're able to embrace that and recognize that, which you can do, and which you will do if you do this work seriously, the more loving you become towards yourself, and the more loving other people will start to become towards you.